I'm going to call the Crystal Council meeting to order at this time. Let us start with roll call.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Here.
Councilmember LaRoche.
Here.
Councilmember Parsons.
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Banks.
Here.
Councilmember Budashevsky.
Here.
Councilmember Deschler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, council members, we have an agenda before us, looking for a motion on this agenda. Nancy?
I'll move to approve.
All right, Brendan?
So moved.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So we have an appearance. Our Sheriff David Hutchinson is here. I believe he's with us on Zoom. Sheriff, are you there?
On mute.
There he is. At least a picture of him. Here comes the audio, it seems.
Oh, he's muted.
You're muted.
There he is.
All right. Are you there?
Yeah, this is Sheriff Hutchinson.
Hey, there you are. Welcome.
Sorry about that. My computer's having technical difficulties for the second time in a row here. So.
Yeah, usually it's not my computer. Usually it's me.
Yeah, well, could be.
So why don't you go ahead? You have the floor.
All right, thank you, sir. Again, it's always nice to talk to all the cities. Crystal's a very important city, and I really envy and respect your chief and your deputy chief. They're always resources for me to call, and I get along with them very well, so you're lucky to have both of them. It's nice to be here, Mayor, City Council, and the rest of the city staff. And as you all know, it's been a challenging year for not only everybody, but especially for the Sheriff's Office with COVID, with George Floyd's death, the unrest. We've had a long year. My first year and a half has been, quite the, wake-up call to being the sheriff of a big county. And again, I want to thank the police department. I think any department in this day and age should be well respected, and I want to thank Chief and patrol officers for the work they do every single day. As you know, Crystal is in collaboration with us as far as ESD air patrol units, canine units, our violent offender task force. Just during the month of September, we coordinated about 10 times in order to keep the peace in your city and the county, and just assisting your agency in general happens quite a bit on routine things, and we ask for your help and vice versa. So again, I want to thank them. One of my main things I've with my staff have started is our Tri Wellness program. This is the mind, body, and spirit. We've got to make sure our staff is healthy and happy so we can serve the people of Hennepin County to the best of our ability. We have an on-site mental health worker. She's full-time with our agency. We're updating our gyms. We're trying to, we even have now a financial help because, again, part of being happy and healthy is being financially secure. And happy cops and deputies have less internal affairs complaints, visit the doctor less. So, it's cost savings. And again, it's to make sure our citizens have the best police service they can possibly get. The crime lab for Hennepin County is, I always feel kind of weird about saying it, but it's one of the best crime labs in the country. We have been accredited nationally, internationally. We're doing some changes with just kind of separating the deputies, the CSIs from the scientists, just because that's kind of a new national norm is to make sure that there's no perversion amongst the scientists plus the deputies in cases. So we're going through that again because we want to be the best we can be because most of the cities in Hennepin County rely on us with the exception of Minneapolis. COVID in the jails, as you know, we've had it. We've worked our tails off quarantining it as of October 19th. A total population of people in jail is 576 inmates. 39 are medically isolated. 14 are in quarantine. 10 positives in custody. So if you look at our numbers compared to counties like Milwaukee County, Denver, Franklin County, where Columbus is, same size county, same size jail, and we're doing pretty good. If you look at our numbers, our tested numbers are way higher, and our sick tests are low. So we take pride making sure because people who are in jail still deserve the same rights to be healthy and COVID free. We've had some staff members with it. But again, it's been pretty low compared to counties across the nation of our size. And then, of course, the civil unrest in Minneapolis, as you've seen on TV or maybe seen in person. But of course, my staff and I obviously welcome positive and legal and peaceful protest, and we'll protect everybody's rights to do that. But as soon as they turn into violence, damage to property, or like they did in August, try to literally break into our jail, we're not going to tolerate looting. We're not going to tolerate people breaking our stuff. Those people will be held accountable, arrested, and hopefully tried in the court of law. But I'm asking everybody, especially your local government and other local governments throughout the county, is, we're better together. We need to make sure that we're using resources together for costs. All our budgets are kind of up in the air because of COVID. So now it's more important to use one another as much as we can, to be partners in combating violent crime, helping people with mental illness, helping people with addiction. So again, we have a new program called STOP, Survival Through Overdose Prevention. We give out the Tura bags, which are the bags you can put your unused medication there, mix with water, make sure it's safe to dispose of. So again, we're making sure that we're holding violent criminals accountable. We're making sure that our friends and who are addicted and who are mentally ill are getting treatment. They don't belong in jail. We all suffer sometimes. We need to have the state give us better resources for hospitals and care. And so again, that's not just opioids. Now methamphetamines is coming back. And I was on a conference call, I believe yesterday, that the southern border in Arizona, now meth overdoses are higher than opioids. So now we're fighting that battle again too. So it's kind of never ending. And that's why we need to have collaboration. And I feel like the sheriff's office, through your city, through your leadership, not only the police department, but other services, everything I've ever asked for your chief, for deputy chief, for your cops and city officials out there have received. And hopefully you feel the same. I'm here for the city of Crystal 24/7, 365 days a year. I hope our relationship improves every single day. And I hope we can curtail violent crime that's probably affecting Crystal like everywhere else. And we're in this together. And you have my word that as long as I'm in office, I'm going to be making sure we have that partnership. And I can take questions or concerns or what have you.
All right. Thank you, Sheriff Hutchinson. Do we have any questions for the sheriff? Go ahead, John.
Sure. This is John Buduszewski. I just have a question regarding your forensic teams. Have you had any opportunities to look at cold cases in terms of your investigations? I noticed that there's been quite a few articles in the paper, not only here in Minnesota, but nationally, of cold cases that have been broken as a result of the new forensic teams. If you could comment on that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We have, a robust investigations unit. Again, they do a lot of good work. But in the last few months, all our staff has been so tied up on the surge in violent crime that's going on now. But it is kind of my, there's a few retired officers from different jurisdictions that have approached me asking if they could do it part-time. And I'm welcoming that. So we are putting that together because I think people who are victims of crimes from the past do deserve to get answers. And unfortunately, with the current increase in crime, we have a little bit of backlog, but we are going to work on this. So it's a great idea. We are working on it. And again, we have some retired cops who are detectives at their agencies who would like to stay in the business part-time, and we're working through that as we speak.
Awesome. That's a great plan.
Julie?
There's, as you mentioned, there's just a ton of crime lately, and a fair amount of it is kind of violent against, people. And it seems like some of the people that are doing this crime have been in and out of incarceration numerous times. So I guess my question is, where does the buck stop? I mean, why are our sentencing guidelines so weak and the bail amounts getting dropped significantly, so these people are just continually getting out of jail and they're perpetrating again? I mean, where does the buck stop, and who do we go to make some significant changes in that area?
Ma'am, I really agree with you. Especially now with this, I always get the name wrong, but I think it's Minnesota Freedom Fund, where they're bailing these people out. And some of these are really bad people.
Yeah.
One's in there for criminal sexual conduct, which is rape. But we just had one that was arrested for having a pistol on the government center grounds. That was a known agitator throughout the unrest. But again, a lot of that is the bail system and stuff is set by the judicial system, the judicial branch, judges, the attorneys, etc. So I always like to say, and if you talk to any one of your cops, they would say the same thing about, we go out and we bust our, behinds and we're going out. And sometimes, when I was working the street as a transit cop, we had 12-hour shifts. There was times where I booked a person for, not a super serious crime, but a semi-serious crime. And by the time I left my shift, I wasn't the ink didn't even dry on the reports, and they're back out.
Right.
And so there has to be a happy medium. Again, if they're dangerous, they don't deserve to see the light of day. But again, we go back to if they're committing crimes because they're addicted or mentally ill, that's why we need to work better with the state. We need more funding. We need more places for these people to get treatment, because just because they're down low of their chemical dependency or mental illness, they just can't wander the streets freely. But there has to be a place for them to get treatment. Right. So we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place with that. But if you look at our jail numbers, are lower as we speak, but there's more felony PC, which is probable cause arrest, in our jail. So my violent offender task force, which is, they go after the name violent offenders. They're out there even through the unrest. They're making a ton of gun arrests. They're making a ton of, real bad people are going to jail. And fortunately, those people are still sitting in jail. But with these people coming up with national money to bail people out, we got to hold those people accountable. I mean, I get scared that they're going to bail some of these people out, and that person's going to, be angrier, maybe hurt somebody, or hurt the police or a deputy. So I'm with you. They need to be held accountable, and I think it's through our election process of judges and attorneys, etc. People need to be held accountable, just like I need to be held accountable. It's like we all are, and local government should be held accountable. If we're not, then it's time for somebody new.
Well, we just had that case in Crystal where that one person ran over one of our police officers and injured her. It was a $150,000 bail, so if he got a bond, it should have been $15,000 in my mind, because it's 10%. But for some reason, he was bounced. He was allowed to take bond for $5,000, and now he skipped town. So it's like, who made that decision to reduce the bail to $5,000 so he could come up with it? That's ridiculous.
It's definitely not me. It's
No, I know. It's a judge somewhere. But
judges, and
I'm not yelling
they
at
need to
you.
be
It's
held.
just,
They need to be held accountable. I mean, just like if you did something in your position that people didn't agree with, they're going to hold you accountable, and you're probably not going to get reelected. So the same goes to judges and other elected officials and throughout the judicial system. But people just don't pay enough attention. Just like when you go vote, you see, how many judges on the back, 30 judges, and
and nobody, yeah, there was nobody
So-
that had anybody running against him except for the Supreme Court justice. Otherwise, they were
And,
just all right.
so we gotta-
No, I'm
we
gonna
gotta pay
keep
more
digging
attention.
into it. Thank you.
Sheriff
Get to the
Hutchinson,
bottom of it.
Sheriff Hutchinson, this is Mayor Adams. I don't know if I have a question per se, but I have some comments. I work in recovery housing. I have run about 87 beds in the metro in Duluth. And, this COVID thing has been probably the biggest enemy that I've seen, in the recovery housing industry. Our vacancies have increased dramatically, way more than I think what a normal housing market would be. And what we're seeing is most people are not making it through treatment, whether it be inpatient or outpatient, because the treatment has been more of it like distance treatment, and it's not successful. I'm not sure that funding is the issue. I think when it comes to people in addiction and recovery, one of the most important thing is the association, the personal contact, and that sort of thing. And COVID is clearly an enemy to that. So from my experience in the field, I know that's one thing that as soon as we can move away from this distancing, we're going to have less issues with mental health, whether it be anxiety, depression, or something even beyond that. But right now, that's off the scale. We've seen people in very strong, stable recovery relapse and even overdose and die in this period of time. So I don't know if funding is necessarily the right answer. I think understanding what recovery is and what it looks like, and addressing it, and getting away from this separation. There's a lot of people going to meetings, virtually. Well, meetings are extremely important for recovery, and if you're going virtually, you're not having the same results as what you normally would. So I don't know what in your realm can affect that, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of insight, what we're seeing from our side of the table, and hopefully that will benefit somewhere along the line.
And Mayor, if I could, I completely agree. Just even with our inmates, we have to stop a lot of the in-person visits because of COVID. We doing a lot of this stuff, and we're giving them free phone calls, but that's not the same, obviously. And even in law enforcement, you think about these brave men and women are out there every single day with COVID in the back of their mind, but now with this anti-police rhetoric going on, but they still have to go home, and sometimes they have to distance themselves from their loved ones because if they're around 100 people a day, mask or not, they still have to be a little more cautious, and it's hurting cops and deputies too, including myself.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I can't wait to go, socialize with my parents more. I can't wait to, go to a bar and, have some, of course I just drink water, but, that goes. But if we all want to need that social interaction. I think you're 100% about addiction is just like when I'm not feeling well, my significant other helps me through it. So if you're going through addiction, it's the same thing. You need that support from your family, friends. And I can't wait until we figure something out. I'll be the first one on board to get the vaccine so I can go back and being a sheriff again, not just a virtual sheriff. I appreciate your sentiment there, sir.
All right, thank you. Nancy?
Hi, Sheriff Hutchinson. This is Nancy LaRoche, Crystal City Council Section 1. And I just wanted to commend you on your outreach in social media, that you guys have done a great job of informing residents throughout the county. And also just wanted to ask you what types of things, even during COVID, that you offer for citizen involvement and engagement.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman. About 6-7 months ago, we've always had a community engagement team, but we now have a new division, community outreach division. So we have a captain, Felicia. You've probably seen her out and about. We have Lieutenant Willis J. Cox. We have 2 deputies, and we have some civilians in that unit, and they're still going out. We did an ice cream truck in the warmer weather. We've done things like basketball. The last thing we did was a parade. So we're still out and about. We're taking, again, safety precautions, but no matter what, there is a risk there with COVID, but we know the risks, and we still have to rebuild some relationships that Mr. Floyd's death has tarnished law enforcement, unfortunately. So we have to get out there, and we're doing a ton of stuff, from working with kids of the north side. We did some stuff in Rogers. The drug take back days coming up, which is, again, you can take your medication. There's one in Rogers, and I think the closest one to you all is Brooklyn Park. So we're doing everything we can. The people in that community outreach division, they're working their butts off, COVID or not. We still have to go out there and serve our people and let them know that, we don't hide from anything. We can't. We're the sheriff's office, and no matter what's thrown at us, we're going to deal with it with honor and respect.
Great, thank you.
All right, anything else from the council? All right, I think that concludes our questions. Thank you for your time with us. We appreciate having this time to touch base. It's important for us as much as it is for you as well, I believe. But again, thank you for your time. Did you have any last comments?
I do. I just want to thank you again for your time. Hopefully we can do this in person soon. And again, I really want to say that your chief and the deputy chief and the staff there, you're lucky to have such a great police department. The citizens of your city should be proud of that. And we are kind of in lockstep with them throughout this hardship we're going through as a county and a nation. But again, sheriff's office has been around a long, long time. It doesn't matter who the sheriff is. We're going to serve our people regardless of your zip code. And I'm honored to be here tonight, and hopefully see you soon in person.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we do love our police department too.
We absolutely do. So we're going to move on with our agenda. Next is our consent agenda. I will read that into the record at this point. First is the approval of the minutes from the following meeting, the Crystal City Council meeting from October 6th, the work session from October 8th, and then approval of the list of license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in the office of the city clerk. Then approval of a resolution adopting the American with Disabilities Act transition plan for the public right-of-way, and the approval for a resolution authorizing execution of agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety for multicultural adult education pilot program, grant program, approval of a resolution authorizing Hennepin Youth Sports Grant Program for improvements at Valley Place Park. Looking for a motion on the consent agenda. Olga?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second. Therese?
I will second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
For the, I guess maybe it's Chief here, the Public Safety Multicultural Adult Driver Education Pilot Program. I was just reading, could we get a little bit of information about that?
Sure.
What is that?
So I'm just going to apologize, Mayor and members of the council. I think you're asking about, I heard driver program.
Yes,
that
the
okay.
Multicultural Adult Driver Education Pilot.
Grant.
Now I got it. Now I know what I'm talking about. So Deputy Chief Hubbard, along with Sergeant Tourville, ended up putting in for a grant. for this, and we are awarded, or were awarded this grant. And it's to assist with immigrants in our community obtaining their driver's license. And so we will be helping them, for example, getting to those appointments for the driver's education, helping them obtain the license. How am I doing, Brian? Good? Thank you. And what he said, partnership. Does that answer your question, Councilmember Brooks?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yep.
All right,
Nice.
it's been approved.
Well, I read it and I wasn't fully sure. It sounded like it's pretty good, but I just wanted some more information on it.
Yeah, very good. All right, next is our open forum. Looks like we have one person here for open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for citizens to bring their concerns to the council, and we allot 3 minutes per person, 10 minutes per issue, and it's a great opportunity for people to speak both to the council and the public at large. So at this point in time, I have Joe Sears here. Would you please step forward, or is that, you're looking at me blankly like, not now?
Just making sure there wasn't a rush.
No, when we say Joe Sears, your turn.
Okay.
So welcome.
Anyways, you got the list, the topic, and my topic is division of labor of government between small government and large government. And what I'm presenting is, I've been on the commission here for 18 or 19 years, but I've also was not a centrist. I was a person who was 80 years old when I was 8, and I paid attention to how times have changed. So anyways, let's talk about Crystal. Crystal was built and designed by people who worked to make Crystal from themselves. So the government was directed by the people that worked for themselves, that made the city, made it what it is. Now that's that era. Now we're in the new era, and now we have an attitude that in order to have a government or a city, you've got to have a government body from above to tell us how to live down here. In the past, the old word, do you remember that word? It's really kind of cool. It's called town hall meeting. Now it's probably should be called state federal meeting. So what we have here now, because I've paid attention through the years, we are now surrogates of the government of the state and of the federal government. We are not representatives of our own community. What we do is we facilitate the think tanks of the federal government that push down and trickle. I use the word push down because the end result is it was pushed down. And we don't understand that we're voting on something that was from somebody who's still wet behind the ears, still gargles with Clearasil, and is making public policy in Washington, D.C., and we're buying into it when we have no say. Because one of the things they do about no say is they put penalties, whether it's tax or us more or hold funds back. Hold funds back like streets and parks and stuff like that. Point I'm making is, the whole discussion, because the 3 minutes is getting up, is that I long for the day where the city is the city from who we draw our votes from, our residents. We're the ones that make it. And that is how it should be, so we can live up to the word of town hall. No offense to you guys, but we are being kind of, front for the federal government, and that's wrong. We should be City of Crystal. It should be City of Minneapolis. It should be all cities of their choosing, okay? And the best neighborhood, and the only best neighborhood there is the neighborhood that works. When you dish out living conditions of non-working, you start losing control of the safety of the city. And we have seen that when we had urban renewal, May 25th. You know, we had it May 25th, urban renewal. And that was, a lot of the people were not workers with their city, okay? They were not. And the thing is, we can't keep going and supporting people that don't live in their city. If you work and live, you can get a house, then you got ownership, and then you'll see the city calm down. That's all I'm saying. It's division of labor. There you go.
3 minutes. And
Yeah.
then some.
I figured so. I didn't think
We
you had
had a little
twitch.
grace there. Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's probably more like 4. Well,
Okay. Hi, goodbye. Catch you later.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
see you
you.
all.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else wishing to speak during open forum? Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing nobody approach, open forum is now over, and we will move on to our public hearing. We have a public hearing relating to council consideration of a resolution approving the assessment roll for 2020 delinquent accounts. Jean McGann is here to cover that. Jean, welcome.
Thank you. This evening, we're asking the City Council to adopt a resolution for the 2020 delinquent accounts. Every year at this time, we do go through this process to take a look at all of the various accounts that are not yet paid. And this could be utility charges, administrative citations, garbage and refuse removal, nuisance abatements, mowing lawns, or false alarm fees. Now, for comparative sakes, I do want to point out that when we sent out the original letters, we started off for 2020 of about $398,000 of delinquent accounts. When we started the process in August of 2019, we had about $436,000 in outstanding delinquent accounts. There has been several, many payments that have been made against these accounts once they did receive certification letters. Each individual person with a delinquent account does receive an individual letter explaining what the delinquency is as well as the process. So, individuals do have an opportunity to continue paying on these delinquencies until such time that we do, certify them to the county. And, this will go through November 25th. They can continue to pay without having to be charged any interest. So at this time, I would ask if the council has any questions of me.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, Jean.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak during the public hearing on delinquent accounts?
Mayor, can I just add one to the record?
Sure.
We received a letter from a Crystal Brummer regarding a pending delinquent account charge on the property at 5317 48th Avenue North. Now that you've got it in the record, I just want to say that I think we have resolved it, but I did want to represent.
Represent the letter as written?
Correct.
Thank you for that. All right, looking for anyone else wishing to speak on this? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. We do have action associated with this. Looking for a motion on that action. Brendan?
I make a motion to approve the resolution adopting assessment rolls for 2020 delinquent accounts.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second. Julie?
I'll second.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, on to our regular agenda, which is the first item on the regular agenda is $25,000 expenditures or greater. ABM equipment and supply for the compressor and inverter for truck number 125, $36,312. Key West Drilling Company for pump number 4 replacement for $106,210. Action Fleet Inc. Bill for 2 new police vehicles, the build-outs for that, $29,490. Logis for the monthly application support and hosting fiber costs, $34,866. Musco Sporting Lighting LLC for the lights for North Lions Park Hockey Rink. That's $40,065. And then the West Metro Fire Relief Association Fire Aid funds from Minnesota is $162,126, or $162. I'm going to say that again, so $263,162. Old Architects for engineering for police building architecture fees, $64,142. AEM Financial Solutions for finance professional services, $29,825. Health Partners, Inc. for October health insurance premiums, $116,014. Menpera for employee city required contributions for pay date October 2nd, 2020, $62,306. Total expenditures of $25,000 or greater are $782,394.55. Looking for questions on any of these items? Any of these items?
Just a comment. I don't think I've ever seen the build out on the disbursement form before, so it must be because we have two cars going in at once. It's kind of unique, right? But, you know.
Chief? Did you want to comment on that?
Mayor, Councilmember Budiszewski, yes. So you approved these vehicles actually back in January, but because of the build with Ford, we just didn't get them in until recently, and so that's why you're seeing the build out separated.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I've seen that another time. Any other questions related to any of these items? All right. Go ahead, Nancy.
I'll make a motion to approve the list of disbursements over $25,000.
All right, looking for a second. Julie?
I can second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So next we have consideration of restricting some parking. Our Public Works Director, Mark Ray, is here to address the council on that. Welcome, Mark.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This one's pretty quick. 36th Avenue has a little stub of Florida Avenue just south of it, which is just west of Douglas. It was reconstructed this summer as part of the Mill and Overlay project. We actually relocated one of the driveways. We've been talking to these homeowners for, I think, probably over a year. Probably around a year before we did the project. And one of them was asked if we wanted to relocate a driveway from 36th Avenue to Florida so they're not trying to pull onto and exit off of their driveway every time they come and go. It should be noted, Florida is a dead end. Of course, it's at the bottom of the hill, and what's being proposed is no parking at all time. Both property owners are very much in support of this. So here's a little before and after. Before is on top, after is on the bottom. I don't know if we can hide that, yeah. As you can see right now, the driveway access point before went on to 36 there. Now it's been changed onto Florida. Both ped ramps were redone. Here's another view looking kind of down the street. Again, you can see kind of before and after with just the new look on there. We did, because of the parking issues, as you can see, one of the problem vehicles parked on the street there. We have already posted one side, no parking, just so those residents were able to maintain some level of access. So the item before you is a motion to approve the resolution restricting parking on both sides of Florida from 36th Avenue south to the dead end. And again, all residents, the two properties are in support of this.
All right. Any questions for Mark on this one? All right. Thank you, Mark. No questions? Looking for a motion? John?
I move to restrict parking on Florida Avenue North from 36th Avenue South to the dead end.
All right. Looking for a second? Therese?
I'll second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Looks nice.
It's nice to have the properties in support of it. Yep, that's great. All right, next we have council considering a first reading of an ordinance rezoning the City Hall campus at 4141 Douglas Drive North. We have our Community Director, John Sutter, here to address the council. Welcome, John.
Right, thank you, Mayor Adams, council members. This was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission last night, and what you're being asked to do tonight is to approve the first reading of an ordinance rezoning this property, the City Hall campus, to planned development within the R1 residential district. So with that, can you minimize that, Matt?
I'm trying.
Or Kim? All right, thank you. So as you all know, the city is proposing to build a new police building on this property. The property already contains two buildings, the existing City Hall and Police Station and the fire station. The project would remove kind of the northerly 4,800 square feet of this existing City Hall Police Station building, construct a new 23,800 square foot police building addition northwest of the current City Hall, and then 14,700 square feet of the existing City Hall building would remain. To accomplish this, the city is requesting to rezone the property to planned development. Now, second reading, if you approve first reading tonight, second reading would occur at your November 17th meeting. And at that meeting, you would also be asked to approve a lot consolidation plat, because you may not realize it, but this City Hall property actually is comprised of 4 legally separate parcels. So to clean that up, a lot consolidation plat will also be on your agenda for November 17th. So this is the area that we mailed written notice of the Planning Commission hearing to. We went out, doubled the normal minimum required distance of 500 feet, so we did a 1,000-foot radius. We also published in the Sun Post, posted it on the property and on the city website and to all Crystal neighborhoods and next door. Here is kind of a concept level illustration of the kind of the new police building and how it relates to the existing City Hall. And you'll note that some of the accesses have been changed, and we'll get into that in a little more detail later. Here is a more detailed site plan, and we do have the actual full detailed plan sheets if you really want to get into the weeds, but this is what is basically an excerpt from one of those site plan sheets showing the new building addition and the enlarged northeast parking lot and the reconfigured southwest parking lot. So what elements of the site are important and necessitating the planned development rezoning? Well, first, the north setback is going to be as little as 24 feet measured after a 7-foot sidewalk or trail easement is dedicated back from the existing north property line. So because our ordinance standard is 30 feet, that's something that needs to be modified as part of the planned development rezoning. The west lot line, the interior side lot line between City Hall and the police building, I guess I'll use this one here, is the setback there is as little as 7 feet, and the minimum standard is 10 feet. So again, through planned development rezoning, we can adjust that setback requirement. The setbacks on the east and south sides are not affected in any way that requires planned development rezoning. Parking. So we actually don't have a specific requirement in our city code for public buildings. As I mentioned, the existing parking lots will be reconfigured, but because the indoor police garage space is so much larger than the existing very inadequate space that we have today, while the surface parking spaces will be fewer in number, the police vehicles that currently have to park in some of those surface spaces will instead be indoors. So the actual net effect is 17 additional parking spaces on the property in total. In terms of stormwater management, the percent of the property that's impervious will increase from 64% to 75%. The maximum in the code is 70%, so here again, we need to modify that through the plan development rezoning. That said, it's important to note that the existing stormwater infiltration tank under the northeast parking lot will be expanded, and despite that increase in impervious surface, the actual runoff will be slightly lower than the existing conditions. And then obviously during construction itself, there are very specific erosion control measures that have to be installed and maintained during that process. We'll be able to connect to existing water and sanitary sewer mains, and the lot consolidation plat will include the standard drainage and utility easements around the perimeter of the plat. In terms of access changes, we are going to eliminate the existing northwesterly driveway to City Hall. That's the one that runs just out here past the Sallyport up to 42nd Avenue. And that's because the building addition is going to go there. The two existing accesses to the northeast parking lot, that's the secured parking lot at the intersection of 42nd and Douglas. Those existing accesses will approximately remain. There'll be slight changes. The Douglas access will be shifted a little bit south from 42nd, which I think is a good thing. And then also, if you recall, in 2019, the city and county agreed to relocate the cross-access between our two properties further north in the vicinity of where the trash enclosure is now, kind of, just south of the new reconfigured parking lot for the new police addition, and also to widen the access at 42nd to create a right turn lane for the library exit, and also to increase the radii of the curbs at the entrance to 42nd to make that access more usable for everybody, both library and city hall users. Landscape plan, we're planting more trees than we're removing. That did come up at Planning Commission. I think they're Kentucky coffee trees or Ohio Buckeyes, I don't remember which, along that library driveway just on our side of the property line. There's no way around it. They do have to be removed. They are beautiful trees, but because of the amount of construction disturbance, it would take a completely different, much smaller building plan in order to create enough space to really protect the root zones of those trees. So it's just not practical to save them. And we are planting more than twice as many new trees as are being removed for the project. And then the Planning Commission did determine that the addition does meet the conditional use permit approval criteria. So here are some exterior elevations. The top one is if you were kind of standing in the middle of 42nd and Douglas, looking southwest towards that lower or secured parking lot. You can see the existing city hall kind of the left-hand side of the image and the police building addition on the right-hand side of the image. And you can see that that parking lot is quite a bit larger than the one that's out there now. The lower image is what you would see if you were driving east on 42nd Avenue, passing the library as you approach Douglas Drive. And then the final building elevation, this is if you were standing kind of at the northeast edge or the east edge of the library parking lot, right where that new cross-access driveway is going to be built. The tornado siren isn't in this image, but just to orient yourself, it would be sort of in the left-hand side of that grassy area. And you can see the new police building addition where it ties into the existing entrances to City Hall with those two light towers that are there to the right. So the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the rezoning with the following conditions: that you need to approve the lot consolidation application, which you do on November 17th, concurrent with second reading. Our standard requirement is that utility lines, new lines, have to be underground. And then those special provisions related to plan development rezoning. It allows more than one principal building on the property. The west setback is reduced from 10 to 7 feet. The north setback is reduced from 30 to 24 feet, and the maximum impervious coverage is increased from 70 to 75%. So that concludes my presentation. Just that we would, after you take any comment or ask any questions, we request that you approve first reading of the plan development rezoning ordinance as recommended by the Planning Commission. I know Melissa Stein from Wold Architects and others may be available via Zoom to answer any questions that you have, and I would as well.
All right, thank you, John. Questions for John? Nancy?
I'm curious that it was zoned as residential R1 this whole time.
Yeah, Councilmember, that's actually something that a lot of people don't realize. There isn't a zoning classification for institutional uses. It's in the comprehensive plan. We designate areas for that, but when it comes to zoning, they're allowed usually in all zoning districts. So what the plan development rezoning does is allow us to vary from those normal R1 requirements because it is kind of an institutional campus in a special case. But yeah, we actually do not have an institutional classification, so it's R1 probably because that's what it's always been, would be my best guess.
Okay. And then if I could just
Yep, go ahead.
compliment who, one of our planning commission members is here tonight who spoke earlier, Joe Sears. I just wanted to thank him and the planning commission for their input. Thanks. Okay.
I'll send you the bill for those of you at home who are wondering what he said. All right. Julie?
I would just find it rather interesting that of all the letters that went out to the neighboring, areas, really the only comments were about the trees. I mean, all the other things people could ask, trees seem to be the most important to a couple people.
Yeah, and we, Councilmember, we only had 2 people at all at the public hearing. No written comments. We were expecting more, I think. But I mean, the need for the facility has been somewhat well publicized. I think the community understands that. But yeah, even with that said, we were expecting more public comment or response.
It looks nice.
There you go.
It does.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, looking for a motion? Was that a hand wave? Olga, why don't you go ahead?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance amending the zoning map to rezone property for the city of Crystal located at 4141 Douglas Drive North from low-density residential R1 to low-density residential R1 planned development.
All right, thank you. Julie?
I'll second that.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, the council is considering a resolution approving the plans and specifications for the police station building project and ordering advertising bids for this project. Our city manager, Ann Norris, is here to address the council.
Thank you. Now comes the exciting part. Now that you've approved the planning request, now we can move forward with the, you considering the plans and specifications and ordering advertising for bids so that we can get those in. Melissa Stein from Wold is on, at the call virtually. She's been working hard to get the plans and specs complete so that Jason Riensmeister at Kraus Anderson can get bids for us and bring them back for the council consideration later this year.
All right, thank you.
I don't have any, I mean, it's a pretty simple process. It's just a lot of money.
Yep.
What,
Julie, go ahead.
when are they expecting, when do they want to have the bids due by?
I can't remember what the due date is, but you are going to consider them at your last meeting of the year.
Okay, I just want to make
That's
sure.
what I was
that-
working towards.
That's exciting for me, so I want to make sure I'm here to.
Here to vote on that.
Will it be public, the bid opening?
Yeah, I
Yep,
assume
it will
has
be
to be.
public. Hi, Mayor, council members, Melissa Stein from Wold Architects and Engineers. Sorry to just jump in here real quick, but we are planning to issue our project as long as we get approval tonight, kind of the second week in November after the elections. We are planning to openly, publicly bid the project on December 8th. And then we are planning to award the contracts on December 15th. Back here.
All right, just in time.
Yep.
Skin of my teeth there.
That's right.
Right.
All right. Nancy?
May I make a motion to approve plans and specifications for the police building project at 4141 Douglas Drive and ordering advertisement for bids for the project?
All right, thank you. Brendan?
So move.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Question.
Therese?
Where is this advertised when they say they put it out for publication? That sounds like a dumb question, but I really don't know.
Jason's going to answer.
Jason?
Yeah, I can answer that.
Thank you.
As a municipality, you need to legally advertise in your newspaper of record or journal. I think in your case, it's a newspaper. So we'll place an ad in that newspaper. It needs to run 2 times during the bidding period prior to the bidding for it to be, legally a public bid. The other side of the public bid opening is that we're holding it for all to hear.
Okay.
I have a question.
Hold up. Chief, did you have a comment?
No, Mayor, members of the council, I just wanted to thank you. I know you haven't voted yet, but I just wanted to tell you, and I'm trying to contain my excitement right now. As you know, throughout the last several years, we have been planning this due to the fact that of the need, right? And because of you, all of you, and City Manager Ann Norris and your support, this has truly been a great experience and process so far. And we're just really excited for it. So I'll stop.
Thanks. Julia, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wanting to make sure that you send it out to like the contractors too, because most of them probably don't read the Sun Post. I mean, there must be a list of
probably right.
contractors
Yes,
that you just kind of
utilize
give them a heads up. It's coming.
we utilize a software system called I Square Foot. We've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 700 contractors that we'll be sending that to.
Okay.
Within the region, you'll have some scopes of work on your project that will draw contractors from pretty far away. We do have a very healthy group of contractors in the metro area that will be very interested in your project. We're also utilizing, there's about 6 to 8 builders exchanges that are either a state-based or a national regional-based bidders exchange that the contractors subscribe to or are members of. And those exchanges will also receive copies of your plans and be invited to bid through that network as well. So a broad range of opportunities to reach out to the contractors.
All right. Thank you.
Maybe on a side note, we've been bidding other projects here recently, and I believe Melissa can probably attest to some of this, but this is a very good market for the city of Crystal, and we are seeing good numbers, I guess. The concerns
Don't
are-
oversell, Jason.
Yeah, don't oversell, because then we think, oh, no contingents will be used. That's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate that, Jason.
Thank you.
All right, Therese?
What's the number of bids that we entertain? As many as are made, or do we cut it off at any point, or?
All of them.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason.
We'll break your project up into probably 30 to 35 scopes of work. And then if you tallied up all the bidders that we would anticipate seeing, in today's market, I would anticipate somewhere between 150 and 200 bidders overall.
For each of the 30 to 35 scopes? No?
No, total. If you added up all of the bidders for each of the scopes, it would be 200 total at the high end.
Okay.
We just bid a project in Burnsville, similar. It's a new project, but it's kind of similar in size, and we had 160 bidders, which is very good coverage.
Wow.
Yep, very good. All right, any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you so very much.
This is amazing. You know, this is something that, you know, when we were working at the Public Works building, we were thinking about doing this, and we are actually ahead of what we were talking about way back then. We didn't think we'd be hitting it by now, and we are. So this is a testament to the work that's been done in the city of Crystal, and I'm happy to have been a small, tiny part of that. So, Melissa, Jason, thank you so much for your work. We appreciate it. You are definitely our advocates, and we are cheering you on like none other. So, thank you for your work. All right, we will move on to the next agenda item, and that is the council consider a resolution allocating the Crystal's Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Securities, that's the CARES Act dollars. And we have Jean McGann here to talk to us on that. Is this your last item of the night?
I think it's the last item, isn't it?
I think it is. Let's close this up. Welcome.
All right. All right, so back in September, we talked a bit about the CARES Act and the fact that, the city has received $1,754,449 in CARES Act relief funding. And that's to, address anticipated expenses due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. Now, since September, there has been a multitude of revised guidance that has been issued in regard to what is eligible and what is not eligible under the CARES Act. Now, when we
lost your audio.
came to you in September, the information that was available at that point, that was disqualifying an allocation, for instance, to West Metro. That has now since been revised. And so the city is eligible to continue to move forward with the original assumption that West Metro would be made whole, given the additional expenses incurred during this COVID-19 pandemic. There's also been, additional guidance, just really clarifying all of the information as to what's eligible, what's not eligible, and all of those types of things. And this evening, what we would like to do is that the Minnesota Management and Budget really clarified the fact, as well as the Office of the Inspector General, clarified the fact that the reimbursement of public safety personnel costs are absolutely eligible for the CARES funding. So the recommendation that we have for our overall funding plan is that we would expend the entire $1,054,449 public safety. Now, this would be split between police and West Metro. Now, the allocation that to West Metro will be dependent on the funds remaining. They have some other different grants that they have applied for as well. But in the end, we do certainly want to make them whole. In addition to that, we have had discussions with the auditors in regard to other ideas and thoughts that we had on eligible, funding mechanisms for the CARES dollars. And we have received the approval of the auditors for the direction that we would like to put the CARES funding that we have received.
All right.
And, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or, address any concerns that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Julie?
Because the rules have been kind of fluid and they're changing, do you foresee, I hate to even say this out loud, would there be an instance where 3 months from now, the auditors say, nah, they change their mind, now that you can't use the funds for, say, West Metro, and you gotta pay it back?
I think that there's been enough clarification and guidance coming from several different authorities. The Office of the Inspector General revised the FAQs, the Minnesota Management and Budget revised the, frequently asked questions to clarify the guidance as well. At this point in time, I firmly believe that any revisions related to public safety will not occur.
Okay. I could really kill a community.
Right.
All right, I'm comfortable with it. I can't imagine they'd change it either. I don't know. It's the stuff that keeps me up at night.
Okay. All right, are there any more questions for Jean? Looking for a motion then. Go ahead, Brendan.
I make a motion to approve the resolution allocating coronavirus aid relief and economic security, the CARES Act funds.
All right, thank you. Looking for a second. John?
So moved.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. A few announcements. Next city council meeting will be Tuesday, November 17th at 7 p.m. here at Crystal Hall in the Chambers. Absentee voting continues 8 to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and that's through October 26th. Early voting starts on Tuesday, and that's the same period of time, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday before the election is October 31st, Halloween. We do have elections early voting from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then, of course, Election Day. You can always come on Election Day. And that is,
Do we have to mention the one about canvassing on the 13th or whatever of November? That meeting?
We sure can.
you sure can. The 13th is when we'll be canvassing. We got notice
1:30.
1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30 p.m. We got notice that we had to change that meeting. It is usually the Friday after the election, so we moved that out another,
Because
what
of
is
mail-in
that?
voting.
Another week for, by recommendation of
The county.
the county. Thank you. What else? Plowing update. Can you believe what's the date today? October 20th?
December 20th.
December 20th, January. Mark Ray is going to give us a quick update on our plowing.
I would like to point out the date is 10/20/2020. So
yeah.
we're almost 2020. Anyway, yeah, so just want to give the residents a heads up and let you council know what's going on. Right now it is 32 degrees outside, so hopefully we'll get some melting or freezing. Tomorrow morning, and starting at 4 a.m., we're going to have trucks out. They're going to do one pass down all city streets and alleys, as well as salting. Obviously, the main roads will be getting more than that. The big thing we're looking at right now is there's a 100% chance of rain on Thursday, and there's a high of 40 with a projected rainfall of a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain. So our concern is we plow the full street, we're going to push all this snow into all the catch basins, and then when it rains on Thursday, the water's going to have nowhere to go, and we're going to have street flooding with potentially cold temps following. So this also might be wishful thinking. We hope to maybe get back to sweeping streets at some point later this fall to also get those leaves off so we're not clogging catch basins as well. That might be optimistic, but we're going to give it a whirl if Mother Nature cooperates. So I know some of our neighbors are doing snow emergencies and we're doing the full plow. We're going to take a little bit of a smaller approach because we don't want to create some other potential issues down the road for us later in the week. Again, temperatures are hitting 40 on Thursday. This will be nearly 40 tomorrow. So we're pretty optimistic it'll clean up well. We want to not pile it so it melts and goes away. And hopefully we'll get a little more fall before winter really strikes. Do want to point out the winter outlook has been released by the National Weather Service. Ironically enough, it's supposed to be wetter than normal, but temperatures, they don't have an indication one way or the other. So if this is any indication, so far we're pretty much on target. So with that, be happy to entertain any questions you have.
Julie?
So are you just on the residential streets, you're just strictly going down the middle, you're not going curb to curb?
Correct.
Why, why? Because if it freezes, then it just leaves a nightmare for the whole season.
Well, it won't because it's supposed to be 40 degrees and raining
Well,
on
and it was
Thursday.
last year too, and it froze.
Yeah, so we don't want to plug the catch basins, and then also if we start knocking all those wet leaves in people's yards and then it freezes and thaws, we'll have no chance of getting there to clean it up, potentially with a second
Okay.
sweep.
So we pray for a little thaw.
Yep.
I mean, based on the forecast, it's going to be tomorrow. It's supposed to be sunny with a high of 36.
Okay.
And with these temps, salt works. So even if we salt down the middle, that brine will still run to the edges of the street to get
Okay.
melting going on. Our goal is to not make piles so it melts and goes away.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Block it out of our memory. I'd say that's the big thing. And also for residents, please, please, please be careful shoveling this. This is heart attack snow.
Yeah.
So just let Mother Nature melt a little bit. They're busy enough as it is tonight with trees falling over. So.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank you for the update.
Thank you for the update. That's
Wait,
Nancy.
Could I ask you, Mark, a quick question? A neighbor who lives on Florida, on that steep hill between 34th and 32nd,
Okay.
watched a garbage truck just taking 5 attempts to get up the hill. And I just had a question for those in the neighborhoods who live on streets with high hills. Do they get treated first, or do you try to do?
No, they don't. So they're not treated first. We have a map called mains and hills. And so the mains will usually get plowed more curb to curb, where the hills will try to do one pass to allow for that because they're lower volume roads. And so we try to get one pass so the trash truck can get up it. I know they were out today until 5 o'clock this evening.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they got through everything because they were stuck in traffic like everybody else is.
Yeah.
So that's the intent of the mains and hills route. So usually if we get anything over ½ inch of snow, we'll put out trucks and we call it mains and hills. So it's 3 trucks and off they go.
Nice. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. And we are planning on doing a meeting to talk about snow. November 17th.
November 17th.
Yeah. Timely just before the snow comes. That's great.
Right, exactly.
Thinking.
That's good thinking.
The best laid plans.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. All right, looking for a motion for adjournment. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Beat you again, John.
Looking for a second. John, you want the second?
So moved.
All right. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. Be safe out there. We'll see you in November.
Yes, sir.
Good night, everyone.